I married an American teacher and it was the worst decision ever. He was so violent and abusive, and in this video I'm gonna tell you the whole story. And please do support me in the comment section with your own opinions. I beg you. So if you're ready for the story, let's just begin. My name is Xiao Xia. Born in 1993 in a small town in Hunan province, I once dreamed of a life filled with love and adventure. At 22, I thought I had found the perfect love story when I married an American foreigner teacher after a couple years of courtship. Yet, what awaited me was far from a fairy tale. It was a nightmare of domestic abuse and struggle and survival. This is my story, a journey through heartbreak, resilience, and ultimately finding freedom. As a second child during the one-child policy era, my very existence created challenges for my family. My parents had to pay substantial fines for having me. And in those early years, I lived with my grandmother while they worked to cover all those penalties. Growing up apart from my parents shaped who I am today. True, I had a carefree childhood. With my grandmother, I spent many nights gazing at the stars, wondering about my parents, and longing for family reunions. This early independence could later become my strength, though I didn't know it by then. At 22, while studying at Changsha Normal University, I met the man who would become my husband, an American English teacher, 8 years older than me. Our story began simply enough. I wanted to practice English for my planned Southeast Asian trip, and he was often running along the same riverside path where I did my morning exercises. "Hi, good morning," I said one day, and that greeting changed the course of my entire life. He seemed surprised by my initiative, perhaps because many Chinese students excel at writing English but hesitate to speak. We exchanged contact info after that run, and he opened up to me about his lonely life in China. I felt compassion for him and started showing him around the Martyrs Park, Orange Island, Dufus, Chach Cottage, and Mount Yuelu. What I saw as a friendship, he interpreted as dating. 3 months into our relationship, I left for India to study yoga, hoping to become an international yoga instructor. During my 8-month stay, we maintained contact, and his persistence touched me. When I returned with my international yoga instructor certification, he was still waiting. One day, while we were sitting out the couch reading, he casually asked, "Wanna get married?" I hesitated, saying I was too young, but he insisted that dating should lead to marriage. Without much thought, I agreed. We registered our marriage the next day. Unknown to me then, I was already pregnant. Like, what? So she didn't even wanted to get married, but she was already pregnant. My mother insisted on throwing us a wedding. Then I was 8 months pregnant, perhaps trying to make up for her years of absence. She even flew in my in-laws from America, arranging everything with a week. In 2016, 3 months after our daughter's birth, we moved to America. My baby's persistent jaundice and Changsha's heavy pollution influenced our decision. As a yoga instructor, I thought I could work anywhere, and with my husband's master's degree, finding work seemed very promising. But life in America wasn't the dream I had imagined. Living with my in-laws, I felt increasingly isolated. When we moved to Hawaii, things got worse. The high cost of living stressed my husband, who spent his evenings playing video games and growing more hostile. The verbal abuse started, then the physical violence followed. The worst came during an argument about our daughter's fever medication. He wanted to give her adult doses, and when I objected, he became violent in desperation. I stabbed myself with a fruit knife. What? I didn't feel the pain then. The emotional agony of his daily verbal abuse hurt me far more. When I started bleeding internally, I took a ride share to the hospital instead of an ambulance. Worried about the cost since I had no insurance, the doctors told me I would have died if I would have arrived 5 minutes later. My husband threatened that if I told anyone the truth, I would be labeled crazy and lose my daughter. In my fear and ignorance, I believed him. Later, I learned that if I would report the abuse, the police could have protected both me and the child. Determined to escape, I started working relentlessly. My first job was at a trendy restaurant in Hawaii, where I worked my way up from busing tables to serving, earnings between $5,000 to $10,000 monthly. I tried over 20 different jobs, from luxury retail to ride-sharing driving, tour guiding to full delivery. I even obtained my license in practical nursing certification. The final breaking point came when he impulsively took our daughter to Disney Hotel for a week, spending over $10,000. After 3 police reports of domestic violence and multiple reconciliation attempts, I filed for divorce. I agreed to take on his credit card debt, student loans, and car payments just to end the marriage quickly. Oh my gosh. Today, 4 years after the divorce, I own a successful food truck and vegan restaurant in Hawaii. I live with my daughter and mother, and I have found love again with a kind man who treats me and my daughter with genuine care. True, I am expecting our child. Oh my God. I am in no rush to marry. I have learned that marriage certifications don't guarantee security. Only financial independence and inner strength can do that. Looking back, while the abuse I endured was traumatic, it taught me to be brave and resilient. I'm no longer that vulnerable woman. I'm a strong, independent business owner with love in my life and hope for the future. To other women trapped in abused marriages, be brave enough to make choices for yourself. Even as a single mother, you can create a beautiful life. I'm living proof of that. Okay, and some comments are like, you stab yourself over a verbal argument? She's another nutcase, cannot control emotions, stabs herself for attention and blames others. Not really. Self-harm is not uncommon in abusive, controlling relationships. Wow, this is just... I didn't want to date him, but I did. I didn't want to get married, but I did. I was already pregnant. I went to America even though I didn't want to. He insulted me, and I cut myself and suffered, etc., etc. You both sounds like dumb. I would like to hear his part of the story. You stabbed yourself with a fruit knife. There has to be a level of craziness in you, and I doubt this is the whole story. Wow. What do you guys think about it? This is just... I'll be so scared, if I see someone just reacting like this. The foreigner sounds like a bit of a loser, and she is a powerhouse. Good motivational story with a lot of cross-cultural misunderstandings for complication. He said that he was lonely. She thought that he wanted to hang out and teach her English. Suddenly she was pregnant. I mean, yeah, like she's lonely. I want to learn English, but it went all wrong. It's just the simplest way to get your American dream was to marry, move, get your documents, and divorce. The rest are all stories. Let's hear his side. Most poor Americans come to Asia for white privilege benefits. Get the girl, promise a life in America, realizes he's still poor in America, then boom, reality check, divorce. I have this story happening in my family, guys. Like, seriously. Anyways, this is just... Guys, check out this one. Stupid story. We see Chinese men being abused by their wives, girlfriends daily in the streets. Do you guys remember the last video about Chinese women being the most aggressive women in the world? Even Chinese women being beaten up by their boys in public places. I told you in that video. Now you're acting as if foreigners are the worst. Moral of the story is she just want to move to USA and get a citizenship and live her feminist life because she knows after divorce she has to pay child support and divorce settlement amount so she can run her business. Wow, this is a hard one. The vast majority of the type of foreigners who do go to Asia to teach are uneducated males in Western countries who can't get jobs, not even in McDonald's. I will have to agree to some extent, not all of them, of course, but the ones just lingering in China, some of them are. She sounds like a user because she just wanna practice English on a random stranger, gets pregnant after knowing someone for only a few months, and before marriage, he got his easy, cheap steak because he's unable to catch anything normal back home. The first picture really sets the tone. There are more flaws in the story than her dresses, than a total nutcase. It seems that she refuses to work. She wanted to be a princess and pull all the burden on him. God, check out this comment. Wow, that's what happened if you marry for USA visa. USA visa does not equal happiness. Look at how you dressed and how your life choices took you. I can see you two were a match for hell. The main red flags for me were teacher dating student or student marrying teacher, or better say student getting pregnant with teacher or teacher getting pregnant student, right? Don't marry the first one that talks to you. Marrying seems less aggressive than getting pregnant to me.